Are you planning to move to the Tri-Cities of Washington but not sure where to live? Confused by everything you're finding on Google? Can't figure out what the Tri-Cities really even is? It says Tri-Cities, but then there's all these different cities listed. Kennewick, Pasco, Richland, West Richland, Findlay, Benton City, Burbank. That's way more than 3, so how can that be the Tri-Cities? I'm here to answer those questions and more today as we go over information on moving to the Tri-Cities of Washington. The first and most important piece of information you want to know is, what is the Tri-Cities Washington? The Tri-Cities is made up of a metro area of 4 specific cities: Kennewick, Pasco, Richland, and West Richland. Yes, it's the Tri-Cities, but there are in fact 4 that make up the main metro area. The reason for that is that West Richland was incorporated later after the region was already known as the Tri-Cities. It was turned into its own incorporated separate city. Let's get started with an overview of what each of those cities have to offer in helping you decide what the best place will be to live when you get here. Let's start with Kennewick. Kennewick is the largest of the Tri-Cities. Kennewick has over 70,000 people at the last census count in 2020 and growing. The area of Columbia Center Boulevard, which is kind of the central part of central Kennewick, is known as kind of the main business hub for the Tri-Cities and basically the central point of all of the cities. On Columbia Center Boulevard in Kennewick, you're going to find the mall, a lot of the big box stores, a lot of the chain restaurants. You're also going to find close by that area the Tri-Cities Visitor and Convention Center. You're going to see where if you're coming into town and you need visitor information, you can go to the visitor center there and get lots of information. It's where the Toyota Center is, which is the home of the Tri-Cities American hockey team, and also the location where concerts and off-Broadway plays and musicals and events are held throughout the year. So within the city of Kennewick, you are going to find everything from the commercial development and things that I just talked about to all different types of housing. You're going to be able to find temporary housing such as apartments, townhomes, condos for rent, but you're also going to be able to find all the different types of housing to purchase as well. Condos and townhomes, duplexes, single-family standalone homes, 55-plus communities. There's assisted living and also some different options for senior living and golf course communities, everything you can imagine in Kennewick, a wide variety. So depending where you're gonna be working and how long you want that commute to be and whether or not school districts or specific schools are important to you, these are things that are gonna dictate if Kennewick is the right fit and what part of Kennewick. Kennewick is pretty big and pretty spread out. From East Kennewick to West Kennewick, it can take 25 minutes to get from one side to the other, which if you're coming from a big metro city, 25 minutes sounds like nothing, but for the Tri-Cities, 25 minutes is a long way. So another thing to keep in mind as you're moving here from another area, when you're looking on the map, don't be scared by something that's 10 miles from where you're gonna work, because here in the Tri-Cities, 10 miles means 10 minutes, unlike in big metro areas where 10 miles could mean 2 hours. So make sure when you're looking at cities and locations of housing to where you're gonna be working or to where your kids' schools might be, that you look at the estimated time to get there, not just the mileage, because 14 miles is 14 minutes here, not a lifetime stuck on the road. So just something to keep in mind as you're relocating. So we've gone over a little bit of Kennewick, knowing that there's pretty much everything possible from condos, townhomes, apartments, all the way to acreage houses that have an acre or more of land where you could have a horse, you could have a mini farm. So there's pretty much everything in Kennewick. Now let's move on to the next of the cities, which is Pasco. Pasco is growing like crazy. Pasco is considered one of the fastest growing cities in Washington state. Pasco is home to the Tri-Cities Regional Airport, which is serviced by 6 different airlines. We have 10 direct flight destinations, as well as the ability then from those direct flight destinations to hop on to other areas. For instance, you can get to Seattle, and of course from Seattle you can get to anywhere that you need to go. So keep that in mind. And moving to the Tri-Cities, we have a great airport system, great transportation, also great highway system. So we're pretty centrally located. It's very easy and convenient to get to Seattle or Portland or Spokane by car on the main highways. So even though the Tri-Cities itself is a smaller metro area, we have easy access to larger metro areas. So now to the housing in Pasco. Pasco, like Kennewick, has a wide variety of options for housing. There's some lower priced houses that might be better for starter homes. If it's your first home or you're looking for something a little less expensive, you can find that in Pasco. You can also find super high-end custom homes on the river. So everything and everything in between. You know, you got your starter home, you got your custom luxury home on the river, you got everything in between. If you're looking for a house where you can have a horse or a little bit of a rural feel, there's an area of West Pasco that's great for that. There's a lot of new construction in West Pasco, and there's also a lot of commercial area of Road 68 in Pasco. Has several big box stores. You have things like Walmart, you have a lot of restaurants and things like that over there. The Tri-City Dust Devils baseball team is over there, and there's also an event and convention center over there, so lots of things that are happening throughout the year over in that part of Pasco. And so both Kennewick and Pasco have a lot of different events that go on, sports teams in both cities, and the option for new construction, or resale in established neighborhoods, rural feel or urban feel. You've got it all. So it just kind of depends on, you want to be by the river, how far is it from work, you know, things that you want to look at as you're moving, like what's the most important to you, what vibe are you looking for, that sort of thing. But in terms of available housing, you have a little bit of everything in both Kennewick and Pasco. Now let's move on to Richland. The city of Richland is known as the hub for engineering and science here in the Tri-Cities. North Richland specifically is home to Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, which is managed by Battelle Corporation. It's the largest employer in the Tri-Cities, a lot of research and development there. So a lot of science and engineering jobs that are going on up in that area. It is located right by the Columbia River. Some of the best parks in the Tri-Cities are located in the city of Richland. The parks of Leslie Groves, Howard Amon are amazing. They have swimming beaches, they have boat launches, they have availability to go paddle boarding. They actually have rentals available. So if you don't own a paddleboard, you can go to the park and rent one. It's fantastic. There are a lot of historic homes in North Richland. The alphabet houses you'll hear talked about here in the Tri-Cities, those were built by the government when the Hanford site was in full production in the 40s. Each house was assigned an alphabet letter. Every, like, H house was this floor plan, F house was another floor plan. So you'll hear people kind of talk about the alphabet houses. That's what they're referring to. They're historic houses built in the 40s. They have been updated and changed over the years. So what started as all the H houses look alike, all the F houses look alike. Now over time, each one's unique, but they have character, they have charm. So if you're looking for charm, character, kind of an old feel, North Richland is the place for that. If you get down to South Richland, however, you're gonna find newer homes, new construction, a little more urban feel. So Richland kind of has an old historic feel up in the north area near the beaches and the park area up there, near the Hanford site, near Pacific Northwest National Lab and the Washington State University campus. And then if you go down to South Richland, you're gonna find more new construction, newer homes and newer feel. Still lots of parks, lots of, throughout the Tri-Cities, really anywhere, you're gonna find a lot of green spaces. We have amazing park systems in all of the cities, walking trails, biking paths throughout. So if that's important to you, you can find that pretty much everywhere in the Tri-Cities. I would say North Richland for sure, for the parks that are right on the river, phenomenal walking bike path right along the river in North Richland. And then in South Richland, parks and things tucked into the neighborhood. So if you're looking for newer construction, you might want to be down in the South Richland area versus North Richland. And then the last of the Tri-Cities, which is the smallest one, that's West Richland. So West Richland is the smallest, only about 15,000-ish people in West Richland. It's a lot smaller than the other cities. It was the fourth one incorporated, which is why we now have 4 instead of 3 in the Tri-Cities. It is actually part of the Richland School District. So if you're looking online and Googling and wondering, okay, I see West Richland, why can't I find the West Richland School District? It's part of the Richland School District. So the 3 school districts for public schools in Tri-Cities are Kennewick, Pasco, and Richland. They do have a combined STEM high school, that's all 3 school districts combined. There is also Tri-Tech, which is all the school districts combined, which is a high school specifically for technical training. So they actually have fire science there with the fire department. They have welding, they have nursing, all kinds of cool technical programs. That's all 3 districts combined. And then the STEM high school is all 3 districts combined. But the other high schools are all split by Kennewick, Pasco, Richland. And then, as I said, West Richland feeds into the Richland School District. So that is the overview for the main cities in the Tri-Cities. Now, the outskirts cities that I'm going to talk about today, Findlay and Benton City. So let's start with Findlay. Findlay's a little bit of a confusing one. Most of us here in the Tri-Cities talk about Findlay like it's its own separate town. It is actually technically has a Kennewick address and Kennewick zip code, but they do have their own school district, and it's definitely its own little standalone town. It's just by technicality, it's listed as a census designated place and not a separate incorporated city. So Findlay has the Findlay School District, but a Kennewick address and Kennewick zip code. Their area of Findlay, it has definitely a rural feel to it. It feels like a small rural town. There are some fabulous riverfront homes available in Findlay. If you're looking for a school that's a little smaller for your kids, or you like the rural feel, you want to have a small farm, you want to have horses, something like that, Findlay is going to be a great location to look at for that. But again, keeping in mind that it's going to have a Kennewick address, that the city of Findlay is not its own actual incorporated city. And then the other one to talk about is Benton City. It's on the opposite side of the Tri-Cities. It's right off the highway toward Prosser, and it's going to be closest to West Richland. Benton City is located in the heart of the Red Mountain AVA. So for those of you who might be wine buffs, it is phenomenal for wine tasting. It is located in the middle of vineyards and orchards. It definitely has a rural feel. The Yakima River flows through there, and so you actually have access to river views and riverfront property, but also the access to being, if you're looking at wanting to have that vineyard feel, or you want to live near the wineries, Benton City is going to be the place for you. So that's kind of my little overview of all the different cities. Hopefully that gives you kind of some information on it. Keeping in mind, most important things for you might vary from somebody else. So if you want more specific information, you want to sit down with somebody who can answer specific questions, feel free to reach out. I would love to have a chat with you. I can answer all your specific questions. And if you want to say to me, hey, we're looking for this kind of a feel in a neighborhood, or we're going to be working at XYZ company and we need to be within 15 minutes of that, where can we live? I'm here to answer those questions, and I would love to connect up with you. Feel free to reach out anytime. Hillary Templin, real estate broker and relocation specialist here in the Tri-Cities, Washington. I look forward to helping you with your upcoming move.